I'm with the band. So thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, Mihkel. You guys are very lucky because you will see the future of ad testing, and you will be one of the few ones that will get access to this. And what I can tell you today is that the future of ad testing is here. I'm glad that Andrew made the sell for creative excellence and how important it is. We are going to tell you how to do it properly. But first, who doesn't like a good metaphor? And the metaphor for today is the needle in the haystack. We are on the attention stage, but let's not forget about grounding ourselves into the reality. For everyone out there, we're just a needle in their haystack. For your mom, your dad, your cousins, your friends, everything that we do here and everything that we talk about here is that needle. So we are a little bit smaller versus their entire world, and let's not forget that. But our goal for today is to help you understand how you can maximize that needle, how you can basically create a maxi needle. And that's creative excellence. That's the power of the creative. That's the power of understanding how you can improve your creative effectiveness. I've been working with Anastasia and with Mihkel for over 7 years, and everything that I will show you here is something that we've been doing at scale inside Mars. And it's working. We've created a system where we integrated amazing solutions, systems that measure attention, emotions, compliance with best practices, everything correlated with sales, because for us, behavioral metrics or sales impact is the only way we as marketeers can have a seat at the board table. And I'm going to take a little bit the curtain off of our ad testing solution and explain you how it works today, but also how it will work as of the next month when we will roll the future of ad testing. So there are 4 elements that we measure when it comes to creative, and all of those are driven by our correlation with sales. The first one is platform fit. We want 100% of our content to be fit for the platform it was intended to be aired or executed for. And for this, we're using the amazing CreativeX team. It's an AI model that predicts the best practices, the traditional brilliant basics from Meta or ABCDs from Google, but we go beyond that. We have customized rules, rules that we've developed in partnership, rules that for Mars are the ones that are driving success. And we do that because we know that almost all creatives that fit the digital basics, as we call them, are driving more sales or are more effective versus the other ones. Second element is attention and emotions. Mars is a company that believes in behavioral measurement, and the 2 metrics that we are constantly looking for in optimizing our creative assets are attention and emotions. We measure attention second by second and emotions second by second to better optimize exactly second by second our content. We're using real consumers, real people that Realeyes is actually integrating into the solution to measure that using their facial recognition or facial coding AI models. Again, we're using attention, we're using emotional peaks because we know they are connected with sales. Thirdly, we have what we call digital behaviors. Ever since before we've integrated attention and emotions, view-through rate or time in view was clearly a metric that we would optimize our media against. And for creative, we've proven that the more time people spend with your content within the same platform, the more effective that content is. So we've implemented this kind of solution of view-through rate or time in view, but we're no longer testing it on real consumers. We have built an AI model that predicts time in view using the data that we've built in the past. And last but not least, the element that finalizes the framework is on eye tracking. We're using AI eye tracking to give a little bit of substance to the recommendations. We want to offer our marketeers a more nuanced view on what happens frame by frame, and how can they optimize and how can they simplify their content. So this is as simple as it gets. For the last 3 years, we've run over 4,000 ads against this framework. And we've added a Mars internal expertise that my team is providing to the globe, I would say, to 39 markets and 28 brands. But there is still a question on our mind. So we are very happy with the solution. We cover 70% of our investment. So 70% of the dollars that we put on media are measured through our ACE tool. It's the most important content. It's the TV ad. It's the main YouTube ad. However, if you can see here, it's only 2% of the ads that we produce. So yes, those are the more important ads, but we have a long, long, long tail of ads that we produce today, and we know that we're producing more and more that gets no measurement, and we have no clue what actually happens and how can we optimize that long tail. To give you some numbers, we're testing 1,000 ads per year, and we're not testing 49,000 ads per year globally. So that's where we got together into a room and we said, how can we fix this long tail? How can we give marketeers in Mars a solution that is predictive, that is cost efficient, and that it allows us to optimize the long tail of content? And that solution brings together the power of CreativeX, the power of Realeyes, and the power of Mars. We as Mars, we bring the sales data. We're offering the business outcome measurement of the solution. Attention is modeled by Realeyes, but I think Mihkel will tell you exactly how that works, because we're no longer talking here about real consumers. We're talking about a model that predicts attention and emotions of real consumers. And CreativeX, who have access to all our accounts, are layering in their expertise in understanding what works on the platforms that we are executing. And together we have created something that we are very proud of. And I will pass it on now to the band to take you to the next level.
Hey, hello Madfest. I'm Mihkel. I come from Realeyes, and we're the attention pioneers. So for many years we've been testing a lot of ads via webcams. And in fact, we've tested more than 17 million different ads around the world on different platforms, which happens to be just about enough data to build a model that can now predict how people are going to actually pay attention and what emotional response they have second by second, even without using webcams. So for most of those 98% of ads that you saw from Sorin, we don't need the webcam measurement anymore. We just, by understanding what is in the ad, any format, any image, any video, in what sequence, we're able to have already 70% accuracy versus human measurement in any language, in any world, and we'll probably get it to 75–80% over the coming months. And that in itself is pretty amazing, but what's really key is that that same attention prediction that comes out of it confidently predicts the sales outcome. So this is really new, as Sorin said. It just came out. You know, we worked on the model for more than 3 years, but we finally got it to be as good as we needed just a couple of months ago. So in the very, very first campaigns that we've run so far, we've seen 3 to 5% sales lift from running our A/B tests. And that, if you turn that into dollars, that is very, very serious gains for big advertiser like Mars. And that is truly game-changing for creative effectiveness, because what we've done is we've gone from days to seconds. We've gone from thousands of ads to literally millions that live in system, CreativeX system. And really, more importantly than anything, we've moved from all the proxy metrics that a lot of presentations here are about to actually moving real dollars that the CFO at Mars really cares about. So this is all coming together, and the synthetic approach is really game-changing, because you can now start to plug it into different creative production, media activation, and measurement systems. So great times ahead for creative effectiveness. Finally have good control over the most important lever of your control. So Over to you, Anastasia, to show how it's actually done on scale.
All right. So let's geek out over some product details. We've heard a lot about research, but I'm a product person. I love to figure out how things work. And so when we think about attention testing and the history of attention testing, historically what would happen is we'd run an ad for attention, we'd get some predictive score, and then that would kind of sort of be it. And when we started working together, we first thought about, well, how do we bring that data into the actual activation and execution of an ad? So we started combining that with all the creative data living in CreativeX. And what that gave us is the ability to compare the attention data you were getting from pre-testing an ad with all of the creative data and the digital data that you got when you actually executed an ad in media. And that gave us some pretty interesting insights. It allowed us to measure a couple of things. First of all, it allowed us to give some statistics on what percentage of your media is measured media, how much of your media spend are you actually de-risking up front before it's going live. But it also allowed us to do some prediction and validation testing. To what extent are the predictions that are being made up front actually being brought to life when that ad is showing up in a real environment? And the way that we did that was using a technology known as a digital fingerprint, essentially recognizing when variations of the ad that you had tested were showing up in real life. But the problem with this was that it was still limited by the limitations of the attention testing industry, namely that traditional attention testing is slow and expensive, and a lot of folks can't do it on every ad. And Mihkel's vision was a lot bigger than that. The questions he was asking himself is, how do we embed attention data into every single ad? And that is what the work that his team's been doing has allowed us to do. So now, imagine a scenario where every single ad that you produce can be tested for attention based on the huge database that his team has built over years. The possibility that this opens up are very rich. And these are some of the types of insights we can start to unearth when you get attention data for every single ad. First of all, we can start to get a much more detailed measurement of what are the creative attributes that actually drive attention in a much tighter feedback loop. But the other thing, and this is probably the thing that we are most excited about, is when you think a lot of the biggest advertisers in the world, most of their sales are still happening offline. And traditional digital data has been a very limited proxy for predicting as to what's going to drive brand lift or sales lift. I mean, most folks have now been able to correlate click-through, for example, with the metrics they care about, which is brand and sales. But they have been able to do that with attention. So as you start to get attention data on every ad, you can actually start to react much faster and figure out what are the kinds of creative decisions and media decisions that are ultimately going to drive the metrics you care about, which is brand and sales. And to take us home, we're going to head it back to the lead singer. So Sorin, take it away.
Thank you. So that was it, actually. I mean, we have three messages that we wanted to land with you. One is that creative attention optimization is not a one-off. It's not a pilot. At Mars, it is available at scales on hundreds of millions of media dollars. And this is actually happening. I mean, we are doing, in the second half of the year, most of our content will have an attention metric, human or synthetic, that will predict sales. And the next step is to embed this creative attention metric into our media buying processes, because we know that in-flight optimization can't happen when you pre-test. It will happen only when you do it in-flight at the moment of airing that commercial. And then, of course, the future is that while we think that sales optimization are the real thing that we want to focus on, I think the solution is flexible enough to adapt to any other KPI that you have in your pipeline. So for Mars, it is sales. For many companies, it is sales, but for others, could be software KPIs or you name it. But this is it. Thank you very much. I think it's now up to some questions.
Absolutely. A round of applause, please, for now, because that was really, really exciting, guys. Thank you so much, and very well presented. So a couple of questions as a sort of themes here, so rather than do it again and again. The first thing is, just baldly, someone has written, so what have you learned? What works? Can you share, or is that the secret sauce here? Or you know, obviously Mars, you go from confectionery to cat food, lots of different brands. But are there some creative learnings that you can share with us that you might want to give away?
I can definitely give away one learning. I mean, we've tested attention on over 5,000 ads, and the single most insight that we find over and over is that you need to simplify your creative message. Distraction is our #1 enemy. Our creative agencies or our marketeers are trying to cram in too many things into a creative message. So just by managing distraction is one thing where your attention can only go up.
No, I think that's something. Sorry, Jäätma.
I want to add to that as well, because that's another way how we're taking a step forward here as an industry, because that question of some learnings has always yielded some sort of best practices. So tick those 5 things and there you go, and a success. And yes, that helps, but you can go further. And this technology goes further because you get it the same thing at the ad level now. So it doesn't do only score, it also gives you 3 ideas on how you can make that score better, so you can sell more. So the best practice now happens at the ad level, not platform or overall level.
That's like, and I'm really pleased to hear that simplicity is something that we've found as well. Something when I worked in advertising, often clients will give agencies what they call briefs. And these briefs are usually 5 or 6 pages long. And you go, well, perhaps you should just stick to the word and keep your briefs brief. And the second one is a theme that's been coming through from yesterday as well, is that different media work in different ways. That what a good poster is different from a good cinema ad and a good digital ad and so on. The system, it sounds like it can work. It can work at that level to understand how creativity works across different media. Is that true?
That's right. So ultimately, what we believe is you build the greatest database with all of your data: creative data, attention data, digital data, and you should have the ability to cut that data by what's important to you. The most common data cuts are platforms, like you mentioned. Attention is very different, and the requirements for driving attention are very platform dependent. But it can also vary by market. It can vary by audience. It can vary by where in the funnel your user is, how much exposure they've had to the brand. And so all of these are variables you can start to filter to really understand what are the creative decisions that are going to maximize the attention from your user across any environment, any stage of the funnel, et cetera.
A good ad for one person at one stage of the journey might not work at a different person for another stage of the journey.
Much like humor, which is going to be person and context dependent, attention is very similar.
Very good. Well, guys, thank you very much. I know that you'll be around here afterwards. So if people want to talk to the masters, please make sure that they're there. And thanks very much, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.